Water is the lifeblood of South Florida. That almost sounds cliche, but in fact it's true. At the turn of the last century, this was the frontier. This was the home of some very hardy pioneers, and when Flagler built his railroad, it brought a lot of people down here, and what they saw was that the enemy was water. If they could just get rid of all this water, then this would be paradise. It turned out that yes, they got rid of the water and you could grow things and build houses, but they lost a lot of very important things. They lost their water supply, for example.
All this fresh water that used to percolate down and recharge our aquifers is now being dumped to the Atlantic and the Gulf, about 1.7 billion gallons a day. That's more than we drink in South Florida. The 7.5 million people consume 1.3 billion gallons a day.
So now basically we're yo-yoing between this perpetual, every year there's a flood, and then suddenly there's a drought. And it seems like every few years it's the worst drought anybody can remember.
The news that works for you. Right now at 6, from bare shores to exposed roots.
We're in the midst of one of the worst droughts on record in South Florida.
The drought is having a big impact on local fishermen.
Any rain will help the severe drought conditions in Florida right now.
Over the last 10 years, 3 droughts have really brought us close to a brink of running out of water. Earlier this year, we were made aware of just how dire the situation was. In fact, this city was 22 days away from running out of water. It is important to us, not just because it's our life source. It's important to us because tourism is a big part of the success of South Florida, and specifically this area. The adverse effects of these challenges can be seen and felt in our wallets.
We don't have any choice. We've got to restore the Everglades. I mean, on the east coast of Florida now, there are counties over there that have come dangerously close now of overpumping their aquifers, their freshwater supply. And once it's overpumped and that salt water intrudes, you've lost it. You can't go back there again.
Here at Hallandale Beach, our wells, our freshwater wells, are becoming salty. The ocean is moving westward, underground, under the land we sit on right now, and it's covered about 2/3 of the city. Most problems come down to dollars and cents. So the taxpayers of Hallandale, to move my wells west about 2.5 miles, are going to be paying about $10 million to do that. If the water from sea level rise moves in east and the Everglades becomes saltier, has salinity there, or if the water comes up from the Everglades Bay, then it's pretty much over, because that water, once it goes salty, it's salty. This is going to be a problem for anybody that has their wells pretty much east of 95. So our $10 million, just multiply that by city after city after city that has their wells east of 95.
Our wetlands, the Everglades, supplied us with a tremendous value, not just for fish and wildlife, but provided us the living water we needed to sustain South Florida.
The continual development and growth of the state of Florida depends on the water resources. For us not to understand the very vital importance that water plays into the future of our state would be a huge mistake.